Hopefully this stays connected. YouTube has not been very reliable for me so far. It's been pretty temperamental. It keeps telling me that it's poor signal, and I know that's not the case. I'm sitting in the same room as my access point, and I have business class internet, so I know it's more than fast enough. Anyway, I don't have anything special tonight, but I do have a lot of crabs out, so I figured I'd jump on YouTube and see if anybody else got notifications and who checks in. Over in the right hand corner, I'm trying something new. I'm trying a tripod gooseneck thing to try to protect my arm because I really damaged my arm by holding up my phone for extended periods of time. Anyway, that is either Ditto or Haunter down there. One of them, or both of them, keep changing shells on me, and now I don't know who's who. So down in the salt water, hello? And then you probably can't see on the back wall, back behind this cholla log, Ramona, one of the compresses, is coming down. In the dish is Jane Fonda, Oreo, that one with the banded shell, the wide band doesn't have a name, and then this one right here, this is a Brevimanus, and this is MBD, maybe Baby Daddy. There's also somebody in the wheel. So let me see how bad it is if I try to pivot this thing. Can you see? I don't think so. And then one of the other Brevimanus is way over there. Do you see on the log? Coming down. So just getting up for the day. Sure, you can ask me. As long as they're hermit crab related questions and they're not ridiculousness. I would love it if you would ask questions. I may have to go over on Facebook and let everybody know that we're live streaming. That would probably help. Give me just 1 second. It probably looks like it's frozen because nobody's moving, but they're just eating very slowly. Okay, let's see if that doesn't get some more people in here. Can you get your hermit crab straight from the beach? The only place in the U.S., assuming you're in the U.S., that you can find hermit crabs natively is in Florida, and you have to get a permit, and that permit allows you to collect, I think it's 2 a day or something like that. So if you get a permit, technically you can do it. I wouldn't recommend that. There are hundreds of hermit crabs right this moment that nobody wants that we're trying to adopt out, and we're probably going to be getting another 150 in really soon from this hermit crab race that's happening up in Minneapolis. They have 150 for the event, and whatever doesn't get taken home or adopted, we're going to try to get our hands on and get them adopted out. So if you want hermit crabs, it would be great if you adopted some. Good question, though. That's not one I hear very often. Do you currently have hermit crabs, or are you just thinking about getting some? Oh, gotcha. You have all your supplies, but not the crabs. So we have an adoption program. If you go on our website, which is crabstreetjournal.org, and click on the menu bar where it says adoptions, you can go and fill out the form to get registered to become an adopter with us. And as long as your tank is up to minimum standards, we'll connect you with somebody in your area, hopefully, that's looking to rehome their hermit crabs. We do ship sometimes, but you have to be willing to pay overnight shipping. But that's usually not too bad. It's better for the crabs if they go overnight. Better to not ship them at all, but sometimes we have to. I don't know off the top of my head. They're roly-poly bugs. They're not really bugs. They're miniature crustaceans, and they help keep the tank clean. Mine are getting a little out of control, though, so yesterday I started doing a catch and release with them. Anyway, I don't know off the top of my head if we have crabs in Alabama. Mary and Mike kind of oversee our adoptions and rescues, so you would have to get in touch with Mary. But yep, those are, we call them isopods, but everybody else knows them as roly-poly bugs or wood lice. And they eat all kinds of rotting organic material, so if the crabs hide stuff, they'll go and eat it and clean it up so it keeps the tank from getting gross. If they find mold, they'll eat that. So they're actually good for the tank. But when the tank conditions are really good, they are prolific breeders. Luckily, I have a big stump out in my front yard that needs to be slowly devoured, so I keep releasing them into the stump. That's okay. They're a little out of control. It is a little creepy. That's all I need to have a coughing fit. Hi, Beth. You made it. We're just watching the kids eat. And I'm trying really hard not to have a coughing fit. Well, somebody's having a drink. Like I said earlier, I don't know if this Brevimanus right here is Ditto or Haunter, because one or both of them keeps changing shells. But that shell that they're wearing was one that was gifted to me from Mike and Missy, so it's pretty cool that whoever is wearing it. Back up here, that other Indo is finally coming into view. And I'm terrible. I call them Indo, but they're really Brevimanus. But we called them Indos for so long, it's hard for me to change my verbiage. Somebody just fell off of the swing. I feel like Ditto, I'm just going to call that Ditto because I do think it's Ditto. Like she's just like enjoying her reflection in the water. Just gazing at her beautiful self. It's kind of cute how they're lined up in the food dish. And some of them have been there since, like, I think it was 4:30 when I put this dish of food in to kind of gather. I was hoping I used it to bait and get the crabs to come out so that we could do the live drawing for the giveaway that we did earlier today. So some of them have been in there for nearly 4 hours eating. The three purple pinchers on this side have been in there for that long. Maybe baby daddy just showed up a little bit ago. So let's see, there's 3 of the 5 Brevimanus out. Earlier, both of my compresses were out and about, but now I think I just saw Ramona, but I don't know where she went. I haven't seen the violas today. I know. Like, I think that Oreo here in the middle, this is Oreo, I think that he or she, I think that's actually a female, I think that she's pre-molt because she's been really crabby and starting fights at the food dish, and she's eating non-stop for days. So I think that she'll probably go down soon and molt. And she has, I'm not sure why, not only are her eyes kind of striped, which is cool, but up here in the front, she's got this one random light-colored leg between the two dark legs, which makes her kind of like an Oreo on their side, too. If she comes back dark like the others have been, I probably won't recognize her anymore. Stupid train. Yeah, they can be little hoovers when they want to. And a lot of new crabbers have concerns that their crabs aren't eating enough. Well, they don't eat. One crab can't eat a significant amount, especially if it's a small crab. So often they're just eating, such small bites and small amounts that it's not easily noticeable. But also it seems like if they've been at the pet store for a long time and eating pellets, that they get sort of numb to regular food. And they're so used to just eating pellets, that's all they're interested in. And so sometimes you have to offer some snacks like popcorn or honey to sort of stimulate their appetite, and then they'll kind of take to natural foods again. I know somebody bought some worm castings and green sand from me, and she had been complaining that she just didn't think her crabs were eating, and I think she said it was the green sand seemed to kind of kickstart their appetite, and that they were eating a lot more of all the food in general since offering that. And I don't have worm castings in here right now just because I'm trying to trap some of the isopods to release them outside, so I took the dish out yesterday. I see my crab sometimes, I make kissy. Yeah, I talk to them, and they're right next to my desk, so I talk to them all day, and sometimes one of them will come out and sit up here like on the bridge and just like look right at me, and I'll talk to them like they understand what I'm saying. Hi, Pam. Maybe if I adjust this just a little bit, I can get a little more of the other pool in and still keep Ditto in the frame. I'm already noticing an improvement in my arm since I've been more aware that the issue is holding my phone up for an hour at a time every time we do a live stream. So I'm trying this little funny gooseneck clamp thing. So now we have one of my Brevimanus. I don't know who this is. Not all of them have names. And who I think is Ditto over here in this pool. This is, on the right is the saltwater, and on the left is the freshwater. Oh. Let's not scuffle down there. The one with the wide band started a argument with Jodie Foster the other night, but the behavior was really strange because she was shoving and Jodie just like pounced fully on top of her shell, and she went in her shell, and he never did anything to her. He just sat there for a minute, and then he got up and went and sat back next to her, and they just went back to eating like it was no big deal. It was just like he had to tell her to calm down, and once she did, he was fine. Is a 20-gallon big enough for hermit crabs? If they're small, it's okay. It wouldn't be for large crabs or jumbos. Once you start getting up to large jumbos, they need 10 gallons per crab, ideally. For small and medium, you can get away with 5 gallons per crab, but the more space, the better. Like, you don't want them overcrowded. You start overcrowding them and you have problems with shell fights, and they may argue over food more. Cannibalism isn't always a result, but if they're not being fed well and they're overcrowded, that seems like when the molters start getting attacked. So, I don't want to tell people they have to have a giant tank, but if you're going to start out with a 20-gallon, start with 2 small crabs and plan on upgrading if you want to add more or as they grow. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Ramona climbed on top of Ditto of course, she couldn't go around. She had to go on top of Ditto, and she's like up here behind the cholla now. And somebody else that doesn't have a name is working their way around the pool. So tonight they have organic, just natural, nothing added, unsweetened coconut flakes, then a mixture of seeds, some bonita fish flakes that I got from Amber, and some raw hemp seed. Some of that stuff, well, the raw hemp seed, is available in my online store. Do you see way at the very top of the frame up here, Ramona? Where's there? There's my giant finger right there. Oops, oops, oops. They really do like raw hemp seed. Yeah, I feed them bell peppers all the time, and then I have some dried hot peppers, like it's powdered that was dehydrated that Amber sent me, and they really do like that too. Oh, thanks. I find it calming also. I think it's just the water running, but I love sitting in here and just watching these guys. Like, how many times have I watched them eat? I never get bored, and I take so many pictures of them. Do you see the little legs over here? The far right, underneath Ditto. There's another little Caribbean. I could fit in here. Yeah, it's 6 feet long, and I'm only 5 feet long. So I could fit in here. I can almost fit in the vertical tank. If I scrunch down, I think I could get in there. You probably can't see the isopods well enough, but they are contrary little buggers. Like, they don't want another bug touches them and it's like instant fight. They just squabble constantly. They're really active right now, I think, because I took all the food up. So there's nothing down for them to eat right now. So I did it on purpose, though. I'm going to put a potato trap in tonight and try to trap a whole bunch more of them. And turn them loose. Yeah, they're just hanging out, eating, just relaxing. The other one back there is just staring into the water, too. I wonder if they, like, have to make sure it's really water. I don't know why they kind of stare down in like that. Hopefully Ditto will come over and eat too, and you can see her in her beautiful shell. It's funny how many people tell us that, well, I wasn't really planning on getting hermit crabs, but my kids or my grandkids. Somehow the parents always inherit the crabs. I have nobody to blame for that. I don't have kids. It's all my fault that I've had crabs for 14 years, and they've completely taken over my life. I don't know if you guys can hear my music or not. Hopefully that doesn't get my video taken down. Well, I'm glad that somebody who actually cares took them in and went to the trouble of finding out about them. It's really, you know, people don't even do it with dogs, so it's hard to expect them to do it with hermit crabs, but it's important to know how to properly care for your pet. If you're going to take on the responsibility, you need to do the best you can for them. I wish I could pan a little bit more. I don't know if I can move. Somebody's trying to get on the wheel. I think it's great that we're continuing to learn and evolve and adapt our care, and seeing more and more long-lived crabs. It used to be that Carol's crabs, John and Kate, were the record holders for the longest in captivity, and we're seeing crabs kind of regularly that have been with the same person for 10 years. I know Mike just adopted one this week that had been with the same family for 13 years, and his buddies died, and he was the only one left in the tank, and they didn't want him to be alone. So Mike took him in and has him for now, and I think he'll eventually rehome him. But I think it's great that we're doing a better job. That proves to me that we're on the right track, and we're getting some stuff right. We still have unexplained deaths that, you know, we'll just never know what caused them. Seemingly perfectly healthy crab and it dies one day. But we're doing a lot better. Four of them for 4 years. That's really good too. Once you get past the 18-month mark, you should be pretty much in the clear. Yeah, those critter carriers, critter keepers are pretty awful. But it's not the kids' fault. You know, the products are marketed directly at kids. The painted shells are directly marketed towards children. They're bright colors. The critter keepers are bright colors, and the sand. They treat them like toys instead of like an actual living being. I don't know what time it is, but I thought maybe when it got a little bit darker, the violas would come out. Forrest wasn't out today. He's usually out, or she's usually out almost every day walking on the wheel. Does anybody else have any questions? So 8:30 my time. Thank you, Pam. The comments kind of blink in and out on me. And this is my first time doing a YouTube live stream. I'm usually on Periscope or Facebook Live, so I'm not 100% comfortable with all the controls just yet. So I'm tempted to think, just because of the shell, that crab in the freshwater is actually Haunter, which would make sense because both Haunter and Ditto have orange antennas. But I think there's also a third one with orange antennas. The problems with my Brevimanus is that all 5 of them never come out at the exact same time, so I can see them side by side and reorient me to who's who. If maybe baby daddy ever changes shells, I'm going to be in trouble. But he's darker. He's more of a blue purple, and Haunter and Ditto are more of a pink purple. Well, so for example, like 2 weeks ago, I went into another Facebook group to see what they had for adoption listings. 2 weeks ago, they had 80 crabs listed. And that's just the ones that they found. You know, there's countless more on Craigslist. And I know Mike has like at least another 60 he needs to adopt out just himself. He and Missy rescue. We have shell recommendations on the website, but a lot of us like Richard's seashells. Naples seashells is also really good. If you go on eBay, you can search for land fairy snails shells, and that's like what Jane Fonda's wearing right here, this one. But they get really big. That's what Ditto normally wears. Her shell's underneath the shelf. So those are some good places you can try. I don't know. I wouldn't have initially thought that, but Amber has video of her crab eating the isopod bugs alive, and I, up until that point, did not think they had a hunting instinct. Pam, thanks for those other shell recommendations. And do I have a favorite species? That's really hard for me because I like them all for different reasons. Like the Caribbean crabs, the purple pinchers are just, I don't know, they're kind of just your steadfast, all around good crab, easy to care for. Hi, Jeannie. And they can come in lots of different color patterns, though all of mine are turning blue. I think it might be from the green sand, though. I love the Indos because purple is my favorite color, and so my brevies are purple. The E's I really like because they're so busy all the time, and they have such a personality, but they're also, in my experience, the first ones to start a fight or steal a shell. So there's downsides to those. I wish the Brevimanus were a little more active and outgoing, but mine are all pretty large. The ones in this tank are pretty large, so that may be why they're not out just tearing up the tank all the time, but they're pretty mellow. And the babies in the vertical tank aren't really doing much. Michael, are you new to us, or do you follow us on one of the social media platforms? It's still good. The moisture hasn't crept down any further than it initially had. It hit that kind of 3-inch mark and it stopped creeping down. But I also have kind of barricaded the pools. The freshwater one isn't barricaded right now, but I have these cork stumps kind of barricading the salt water so it doesn't splash out so much. You're new. Okay, well, welcome. That's great to have somebody new. We have a website, and we run contests on the website every month and give away real prizes. I have a store on there. We also have a Facebook group that just hit 2,000 members this month, so today I gave away a $20 value prize to the winner for that. We're also on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're pretty much everywhere out there on social media. I don't know if it's light enough in this end of the tank. Ditto is trying to climb up this swinging pod. I don't think you can see her. Oh, Google Plus too. You are fairly new, but you registered on the site, I think, today or yesterday because I recognize your screen name. My memory isn't always that good, but yours stuck out. Can you see that? Oh, well, that's blocks. Ditto's behind the cholla. I was talking about this swinging hut right here. Because it's free hanging, it spins around. And I swear they spin it on purpose, but Ditto's up here climbing up on top. Oh, and they wait till I turn the camera off to start arguing in the food dish. You guys behave. Can you see her shell coming up? All the way at the end of the cholla log. And somebody else is coming back down by the water. We try hard to be friendly. As the group grows, it gets a little difficult for us to police how all the members are behaving, but we really do strive to treat everybody nicely and be non-judgmental and just do our best to offer all the information that we can and educate anybody who cares to be educated. Whoever's back here on the pool is turned around and doing a little bit of grooming, so hold on while I try to move the camera over. Let's see, can you see back there? It's too dark. That's poopy. If you guys will hang on, I will unplug my phone and try to move over in front of my vertical tank and see if you guys can see some of my little tiny crabs. So it's gonna get bumpy here. Let me move some stuff, or there's gonna be a huge crash also. I was shipping packages all day, so I have all of my shipping stuff laying out here. Okay, it's gonna get bumpy, so if you get car sick easy, close your eyes. Yeah, there may be too much reflection, but there's one little baby violacens right there. I'm not actually the one that created the Crab Street Journal. That was Vanessa Pike Russell, and she started it many years ago, actually 17 years ago. She created the Yahoo group Hermes, and then decided 2 years later to do an online magazine, and that was the Crab Street Journal. And then she kind of built the site, and with the help of a lot of other people, put together the basis of the information. And then because of some health issues, she asked me if I could take over, and she handed ownership over to me, and it's kind of been my baby ever since. So I'm actually really thankful right now to have a nice team of people to help me out. They help me cover all the different social media sites. They help me with outreach. And, you know, getting the word out there. They free me up to do other stuff on the website that I didn't have time to do before. So it's kind of amazing to actually have a team of people helping me. So the violas that are in here, there's 3 of them, violacens, I promised to marry. So these technically aren't mine anymore, the 3 that are in here. Yeah, we have a pretty great backstory. We've been around a long time. But we've always been focused on education and advocacy, outreach, you know, just trying to stop the problem at its core. It's really hard to do in the pet industry, though. There's terrible reflection, and I don't know how to fix it on this. If I move, does it get better? What if I turn on? I have an LED light on here too. Does that help with the reflection any? Or does that make it worse? That's not the LED light, that's my other light. The LED is pretty cool though. Let me... And the Ferris Bueller song is on for some reason. Okay, so let's see. It can be... Not too bad for you guys? Okay. Yeah, we're an international group now too, which has been something I was really, really dying to do, and it's just amazing that it's finally happening. The camera isn't picking up the color LED. You can see a little bit of it, but the LED changes to all these different colors. It's the purple one. The other light's making it wash out. But it also will strobe and it'll flash and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I normally just put it on blue so that that's their night light for a little while at night. Could you see it? It has a really simple little remote control. It's meant to be in the bottom of a fish tank, so it's submersible, but I just have mine laying on top. And you can hook it up so that it bubbles. Where'd that little booger? Oh, he's still sitting there. I thought maybe some more would come out, but these guys are pretty low key. They're getting a little more active now that they're out of the bin and in the tank. Right now, right now they are all wild caught. There is 3 different people that are successfully breeding, but none of the babies that have survived to date have grown anywhere near large enough to where they would even be big enough to sell or adopt out. So while they're having success, we're nowhere near being able to just breed them in captivity versus catching them wild. There's also a pretty serious shortage of usable natural shells for hermit crabs that are in the wild, because of just over collection, basically. And painting shells and destroying them so they can never be used again is certainly not helping. Oh my god, you guys, I see Savannah and she's like, oh, I don't know if you can see her, just her little bitty eyes peeked up over the basket up here. Let me see if I can turn this stupid thing. She's way up. She's way, way up there. See you later, Pam. Let me see if I can pull this back. She's way up there in that basket, and just her little eyes just popped over the rim. And she ducked back down. This tank is probably better shown in vertical, but that screws up YouTube. Well, I think this is probably too dull on this tank because they're not moving around enough. But 2 of the violas are right there. This is a bamboo tube. Like, it's actual bamboo wood. It's about like that big. But it's split open on the top, and I have it mounted into the foam background. So one of the violas is right here, and the other one is up there hiding underneath this. This is a tree fern panel that I put in there as a shelf. So let's go back to the other tank. So I'm going to move again. It's going to get a little bumpy again. Alright, now let's readjust. Down. Ramona's back there in the back in the white and brown striped shell. And maybe Haunter is still in the freshwater. And up here in the shadows. I don't have all of their lights on right now because it's been so hot here. Hello. My bedroom, or not my bedroom, my office is getting too hot, and the tank is getting too hot, so I don't have the heat pad on right now, and I haven't been turning on the UV bulbs. They're just getting LED this week because it's just too darn hot. Come on, Ramona. Come out on camera so everybody can see you. I noticed today that the shield on Ramona is like a dark, rich brown, and Beezus is more of a light brown, but hers also has a very distinct line running the full length of her shield. So I'm hoping that will be enough difference between them to help me be able to tell them apart as they eventually change shells. Let's hope she doesn't start a fight over the food. She's just got to shove her way in there. And you could probably get your foot out of her eye. Yeah, thank you. Night, Jeannie. Thanks for dropping in. I'm not sure who Yama Mary is, but welcome. Haunter kind of came down closer to the water back there now. Can see a little bit better. I don't know if Haunter is male or female, and I'm assuming that's Haunter. If it's not Haunter, it could be Ditto. New to the Facebook group. Welcome. Welcome. It's great to have you. This is our first time doing YouTube live streaming. I normally stream on Periscope or sometimes Facebook Live. in the past couple Saturdays. I normally do my Crabiscopes on Saturdays, but none of my crabs have been out, so we would just have been looking at an empty tank, so I haven't done a stream. So tonight, since I had a good gathering at the dish, I thought it was a perfect time to do a random YouTube stream. Sometimes they cooperate and perform. I see somebody new snuck into the dish. They seem to really like the coconut. They like the seeds a lot too, though. And the raw hemp seed is always something they seem to gobble up. Don't fall in the water while you're on camera. That would be super embarrassing. They do like to climb down the waterfall like that. Kind of face towards the water. And my little tiny compressus that I lost because he had a bad spot on his leg, he liked to go directly underneath where the water was flowing, and he would crawl back and forth underneath there and just let it wash over him. Ease seemed to like to swim a lot. All of Amber's crabs seem to swim, even her Brevimanus. I feel like my E's are the most frequent swimmers. Is the camera sharp enough that you can actually see maybe baby daddy's mouth parts coming down and taking the food from his big pincher? I'm afraid if I get too close, I'll spook him. They can't be kept together because the fiddlers will cannibalize the molting land crabs. They're not nice. And after watching this thing on Nat Geo where they were jumping out of the sand and grabbing these newborn baby sea turtles and eating them, those things are vicious. Yeah, there's a lot of isopods in here. They're a little out of control. So I've been plotting a catch and release to turn them loose in the stump. If I take the phone out, I won't be able to get it back in, and I can't hold it. Oh, somebody told you otherwise. Yeah, that's not a good idea to keep them together. And they like... Those baby sea turtles were easily the size of these crabs, and they just drug it down in their burrow and ate it alive. So, yeah. Hi. This big guy is probably one of my favorites just because of he attempted to mate with Ditto and she was not having it. And he was very love lost and lovelorn for several weeks. She just doesn't dig you, Betty. Just doesn't dig you. I do have a pretty cool video of him guarding Ditto, though, when she was in her in-season time. And it's actually, it's sad for him, but funny. He spent the whole day guarding her, and I don't know, 8-10 hours later, I, of course, was monitoring them all day while he wasn't paying. He's leaving with a piece of coconut in his mouth. I don't know if you can see that. He's taking his food and leaving. And one of the isopods just took off with a big chunk over that rock right there. But she waited till he wasn't looking, and then she really quickly jumped into a different shell and hid from him. And when he, like, flipped her shell over, you could tell he was like, where did she go? He was so shocked he couldn't figure out what happened to her. And so she waited until he was, like, really fixated on that shell, and then she got up very quietly and walked away. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it. Coconut seems to be the preferred food tonight. I think 1, 2, 3. No. I think Jane's eating a piece of nut. They do also have nuts in here. I forgot I gave him some cashews and stuff. The one in the middle with that big wide band, I probably should give that one a name, but this color seems kind of washed out, but that one is also slowly turning blue if you see it in the right light. They're quite clever. The way they figure out how to use the hamster wheel all by themselves just blows my mind. Even if it's just a sense of curiosity that leads them to the wheel, who would think that a little tiny crystal... Do you see the isopod with the coconut? Sorry, back there. Do you see that white dot? That's the coconut. Just that they possess the capacity to be curious about something that's not food is kind of amazing. This is a pretty good angle to see the difference in the eyes on a compressus versus the eyes on a clypetus. So clypetus is the scientific name for the purple pincher, and compressus is the scientific name for the E's or the Ecuadorians. So the Ecuadorian has the more oval-shaped eye stalks, and the eyes themselves are elongated, oval-shaped. The eye stalk of the purple pincher is comma-shaped, and the actual eyes themselves are round. If the Brevimanus would come back up here, you could see that their eye stalks are perfectly round, and of course the eyes themselves are also perfectly round. I wonder if YouTube has like a time limit to how long. We normally go about an hour on the Crabiscopes. Right, Beth? Like, once she finally figured it out, she was like, dude, this is mine. And Forrest, like, really, almost every day, Forrest is on the wheel. He might take a day or two off, but he gets his exercise in. Food enrichment. Oh, like to see just how skilled they are, or how if they can problem solve. They can figure out how to escape. And once they know how to do it, especially E's, once an E figures out how to escape, they will keep trying over and over and over again. E's are also documented to be willing to abandon their shell in order to escape. Yeah, I haven't ever tried anything like that, but, interesting. Not sure how you would do that. I frequently sprinkle dry food throughout the tank, flowers, seeds, stuff like that, to encourage their foraging behavior. I keep certain stuff in the dishes all the time. That's their calcium, their green sand, their worm castings. But if I'm feeding wet foods or powdered foods, or like tonight, I wanted to see if they would come together so that we could film for the drawing. So I purposely put a bunch of good stuff in the dish, trying to drag them out. But yeah, letting them forage for food is good for them. So if you can sprinkle dried flowers and seeds and stuff like that throughout your tank and just let them, dig and root around for that, that's better than just sitting in the dish every day. They also like to eat wood and leaves and moss, so mine are often, picking at the cork bark or at the cholla. Probably cleaning out her shell. They'll do that sometimes. I don't know if they're shifting the poop around in there or what they're doing. But it's generally part of their grooming behavior. But she has, earlier, I noticed when she was eating, she was one of the ones in there earlier, she came back off the dish and she had a piece of coconut and she was holding it down and she was letting the isopods eat it. So they might have been crawling on her too, I don't know. I thought maybe she was trying to trap them and eat them, but I didn't get to see that. If she's actively baiting the isopods so that she can eat them, that's amazing. But she failed me. Come on, Hunter. Do you want to come say hi? He has such a leg span. This little bridge right here is where sometimes they'll come out of the logs and sit there and look at me in the morning. Sometimes Forrest does it. Like he's coming by to say good morning. Beth, did you ever get a phone call back about the crab races? If you're fairly new, we also run 2 photo contests every single month on the website. The first one is Calendar Crab, and it's 100% a beauty pageant. Like, who has the cutest crab? Take the best picture you can and upload it. You can enter every single month. You can win. You could win every month, but you're only eligible for a prize every 90 days per contest. So if you won Calendar Crab in July and won the prize, and then you also won in August, you would still get to be on the calendar, but you wouldn't get a physical prize. And at the end of the year, I take all of the winning photos and I create a wall calendar out of them, and then we vote on all the winners to see who also gets to be on the cover of the calendar. So all of the winners this year will be on next year's calendar, basically. So that's a fun thing that we do every single month. And then the other one is Crabitat of the Month, and that's just one photo each month. When you do Crabitat of the Month, you're going to submit several photos because they're actually voting on how well they like your setup, basically. And that's not about who has the biggest setup. It's about how well did you do with the space that you have. At least in my mind, that's how I vote. If you have a 20-gallon tank and you're not overcrowded and you've got an amazing setup and it's really enriching, then that's just important to me as somebody who has a 55-gallon that's just nothing but sand and, no enrichment whatsoever. Oh, your comment went away, but I saw you got your crab from a souvenir shop and you just found the channel. If you haven't found our website, you may want to come to our website or to our Facebook group so that we can get you squared away with the correct information for your hermit crab. Oh, you got it a couple weeks ago. Okay, it came back. You rescued from, and now you have 2. Very nice. Very nice. I'm glad that you're learning and doing your research. They are a ton of fun. Like, I find them. So I watch them all day. I never get tired of watching them interact with each other and with their environment. I literally will sit here and watch them instead of watching TV. So did I finish talking about Crabitat of the Month? So having a really great 20-gallon tank, in my mind, earns my vote over a blah 55-gallon. So don't be afraid to enter that contest just because you don't have a monster tank. It's about what you're doing with your space. If you, I have a big tank, but I also am still adding the, you can only see a little bit of the cholla logs, but I'm trying to fill in more of my open wasted space because I am overcrowded in this tank. Some things happened that I wasn't anticipating that led to me having too many crabs, adopting and whatnot. I do have some that I probably should adopt out, but we're so flooded with adoptions right now, I can't really, in good conscience, add mine to the mix. So we're just making do with 2 tanks. But I'm maximizing all the space I can. They have, I've only done that once or twice. So I have these like 4-foot cholla logs that I added up here for vertical or horizontal space, as well as the limbs. And then over here we have, if it'll turn, I have 2 big cork logs that are stacked on top of each other. So I've given them a lot of stuff to climb on, lots of places to hide, and I'm maximizing all the space that I can. I have 2 shelves mounted in the corners that hold my seashells, so I feel like my tank is really well outfitted. A friend got those for me. Cholla is super, super, super expensive, and usually you can only buy the smaller pieces, but somebody very kind and generous gave them to me. So I'm very lucky. And I think somebody else asked me a question or something I wanted to comment on, and I lost it. I'm not sure how to get the comments to come back. Oh, the Petco thing. Yeah, that was a spur of the moment thing, and I have to be careful because I didn't have permission to be filming in there, and especially if you're filming in there about what crap their products are, they usually aren't very amenable to you videotaping while in there. So, but hopefully I covered enough information while I was in there that I got the point across. And we have tried appealing to Petco and PetSmart, and I've even put together like an appeal packet that shows them bottom line how much more money they would make on supplies if they set up their tank the correct way and told people to mimic that, but they don't want to hear it. They'd rather sell crap and painted shells. That's the only way to really get to a retail store is, appeal to them on a financial level. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say maybe the isopods are bugging her, but not enough for her to actually get up and move. It's kind of how they are with all the animals, right? Like, oh, they supposedly care, but when it comes down to it, not so much. PetSmart at least has done away with painted shells around here. They did that several years ago in my area. They only sell natural shells, and some of the stores are getting slightly better Crabbitats in the stores, but they don't even follow their own care sheets. Like, you're telling other people to follow your guidelines, but you don't follow them. And the excuse that, well, it's just a temporary home doesn't cut it, because people monkey see, monkey do. Well, this is how the store had it set up. This must be right. Never. Ever. Both of the endos disappeared, didn't they? One of the other ones is waking up, though, up on the shelf where I have my shells. I'm trying to think if the one in the green and the white is still Haunter, the one that's madly swapping shells. Yeah, fancy, right? If you want to talk to your store, we have letters that you can send. We have all kinds of stuff to arm you with the correct information to make it as easy as possible. If you contact me through the site, I will send you whatever you need to go in there armed with the correct information. But so my logic is, if the green and white shell is still Haunter, who I think is... But maybe not, because Haunter wasn't that big. So the other crab that's just waking up could also be Haunter. And now that I'm seeing them both out, the one that's up there is the slightly smaller one and is probably Haunter. I'm obsessed with trying to figure out which one's which again. Yeah, they will sometimes hang on to the painted shells for a really long time. Some of them will change within minutes of being offered something else. Hello, Messy the Great. Poison Sauvage. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Sauvage. Or if it's just savage. If you go to our website, crabstreetjournal.org, there's a lot of stuff on there. You might be able to find it yourself. Or you can email me. Okay. You need to go away. It won't let me. My phone is blazing hot. Anyway, I don't know if it's on the website. Anyway, it's crabstreetjournal@gmail.com. You can also find me on the Facebook group. We have a Facebook page for the Crab Street Journal, as well as Land Hermit Crab Owner Society. You can always message me through the Crab Street Journal webpage also. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. We're on Google+. So I have lots of ways for you to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to email you. Yeah, they seem to like shells that have been worn by another crab, and that's because they modify them inside so they fit better. So it's almost hard to get them to give up a really well-worn shell, even though it's painted, for a natural one that nobody has worn before. Okay, I think I finally got it to... Okay, it said it deleted. I don't know if it blocked him. I'm trying to block, but my phone's so hot it's not responding to me touching the screen. Yeah, purple pinchers aren't as picky as the compressus when it comes to giving up shells. But that's why I think they also fight over shells. Because, well, yeah, there's new shells in here, but the one you have on is already broken and super comfy, and that's the one I want. So that's what that ends up being about. Yeah, they can be. But to be totally contrary to everything we normally say about E's, Ramona is wearing a shell that, up until this point, I've never had an E actually wear, even though they should be the ideal shell for them. I've never been able to get one to wear one, and she's never changed out of it. And then the other one is in a turbo shell with a round opening. Yeah, they're bad about going back, too. And you hate to take it away from them if they're not really happy in the other one, you know. Oh, you guys. You guys. I see Beezus and Lieutenant Dan. Nobody move. Everybody be really quiet. Your hermit crab won't change shells. What do? You basically can't do much besides keep offering them lots of different options. Make sure the options that you're offering really are suitable for hermit crabs. Make sure you wash them really well. We usually tell you to boil them. Whether or not you need to boil them in salt water is kind of your preference. I just boil mine in plain water. But then it's just a waiting game. You can't make them change. And do it when they want. Come on, Lieutenant Dan! Lieutenant Dan hardly ever comes out on camera, so y'all are in for a surprise. Buckle up! Just kidding. She's a pretty mellow crab. She's super, super shy, but she's really pretty. And yes, it's a she named Lieutenant Dan. Pretty sure all 3 of my violas are girls, and 2 of them have boys' names. Okay, so I'm going to try to move the camera just a little bit because she's down here. Um, Normally, even if you boil the paint off, you don't know if it's gotten down into the pores of the shell, so I would not give it back to them. We don't advise that you reuse them. You don't really know for sure if it's, a natural shell is porous. She is a pretty girl. I hope she comes out a little bit more so you can see. The violacens have eyes similar to the compressus, but their eye stalk itself is almost always black or really dark colored like their body. They also have a set of really bright orange or red antennae. Hermit crab species. All species can share a tank. If you have strawberries, the perlatus, they for sure need deep ocean water, and they need deep sand, like deeper than what we normally recommend, like 12 inches at least, because they dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig, and they will destroy the tank. So they like it a little hotter, they like lots of salt water, and they like lots of room. But all the other species can be happy around 85 Fahrenheit also. That's kind of where the sweet spot is for the strawberries. My crabs are definitely more active right around 80 to 82, but they're active even at 85. So yeah, they can all live together, and they all need the same kind of humidity. There is something underneath that bridge that everybody is sitting down there eating, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what it is. Earlier, Beezus started a fight down there. You're welcome. And this is like the third crab to go down there and dig in the sand. So this crab, if this isn't Haunter and the one that's up on the shelf is really Haunter, this Brevimanus here doesn't actually have a name. I only named 2 of them. And then my intention will be to name the other ones eventually after Pokemon also, but I don't know which ones yet. Lieutenant Dan, come out of the shadows. I do. I feel like I'm sort of rambling and drifting off here. It's very calm watching my crabs, though. I really enjoy just sitting and watching them and apparently babbling about it. Hi, Anna. Don't you have crabs of your own to watch, silly girl? She's so crab crazy, she comes and watches other people's crabs. There are currently, it looks like 26 in here currently. I really need to get them all present and accounted for because my sand settled too much and my water pools are too low. So I need to get everybody out and add some more sand and get the pools up higher. Yeah, I guess technically all of you are doing that. Your house sitting 6 ducks and oh my goodness. You're crazy, crazy, crazy. I guess I'm giving Anna a hard time because her and Ian also live stream sometimes too. I normally try to move the camera around, but it was killing my arm. Violet, hopefully if you go back and watch this, it'll still play for you, but I don't remember what the question was, so I can't repeat my answer. It's easy for me to lose my train of thought because I'm trying to read the comments as they go by while I'm talking and trying to sound coherent. The crabs really do like those fountains. They were pricey, but they're totally worth it. I just goofed up and there's Lieutenant Dan out in the light. I did not think about how low down they were going to be and all the sand and stuff following in them. coming through. So I should have actually put them up higher. So I need to do that. But I'll be happy once they're up a little bit higher and I can get the sand deeper and not have the sand quite so high around the pools. They drag everything in there. They put food in there all the time, especially in the fresh water. If I give them crab legs, they put the legs in there. They put potato skins in there. They put shrimp in there. I must not make soup enough. I think she's going to try to get a drink. Beezus was peeking out too. I thought maybe she was going to come out, but she must have changed her mind. There really aren't any reliable websites. The crab went to the water, or I thought I saw an isopod go flying by too. Oh, we're gonna scuffle again. So yeah, there's no reliable websites that sell hermit crabs. If you are interested in getting more hermit crabs, we have, I could probably put my hands on 100 crabs today that are waiting to be adopted. So if you go to our website and fill out the application to become an adopter, as long as your tank is up to our minimum standards, we'll sign you up to become an adopter, and if there are crabs in your area, we'll get them to you. If they're not in your area, as long as the weather is suitable, we can ship them overnight. Anna and Ian are doing some rescue right now, so I know there's a lot of crabs in the St. Louis area that need homes. Hi, Lieutenant Dan. You're just going to come right up to the glass and show off? It'd probably be too weird if I talked to her the way I used to talk to my dogs, right? Who's a pretty girl? Don't tell anybody I did that. The minimum tank thing. So, unremovable water sources be okay? Do you mean like permanent pools? You can do that as long as you make sure... I don't think you can ship into Canada because of customs. There's always an issue with customs. Minimum tank thing is you have to have a glass tank, obviously, with a lid, proper substrate, which is play sand or play sand mixed with eco earth. It has to be the correct depth. You have to maintain the correct temperature and humidity. I think that's the basic stuff. Like we try not to be too picky, but you have to offer the minimum standards of care if we're going to entrust you with some crabs in the hopes of saving their lives. It doesn't do any good to send them to somebody who's going to keep them, 10 crabs in a 10-gallon tank. Well, E's only come from one small region on the west coast of North and South America, so they're not as easily obtained, and they're not even in all of our stores all the time. We just get them once in a while. Yeah, so my pools hold about a gallon, 2 gallons of water, I think, with the filters in there. Very bad connection, or is my battery about to die? My battery's getting low even though I'm plugged in. I'm sucking juice faster than I'm taking it on. So, yeah, getting E's into Canada, not easy. Not even easy to get here. Do not order crabs online. The website, livehermitcrabs.com, is a total scam. You will never get your crabs, and the guy from Germany that sells them is not at all reliable. Stuff. Nice. 100-gallon tank is really nice. You have to be committed to get up, and I don't know, I love my tank. Like I said, I'll sit here instead of watching TV. You lost $50 from livehermitcrabs.com? Yeah, he's been banned from a lot of the groups, and my tank is 150 gallons, and my other tank is 75 gallons, but it's vertical. Yeah, live hermit crabs is, and in the entirety of their existence, they've been around for like 10 years. They have never been reliable. They have always scammed people at that website, and it has changed hands I don't know how many times. I guess not very many people find hermit crabs exciting. I don't know. Eight's a good number for me. They're keeping me entertained and we're just chatting it up, but my phone's gonna die soon. I think I missed another question or comment. I answered the minimum tank thing. I answered how big my tank is. Oh, Christian. Yeah. But a lot of the groups have kicked him out, and people have been warned and they still buy. So, and I'm not gonna judge because I bought some of my crabs from him, but when I didn't get what I paid for, that was the end of that. So, this isn't gonna be a bash session. Let's just enjoy that Lieutenant Dan is out and on camera. She's a bit of a diva and doesn't like to show her face. Jenny's probably prowling around somewhere too, but probably won't get lucky enough to have her come out. I have 26 in this tank. I ended up adopting 20 little tiny... No, they don't all have names. Only if they have enough of a personality for me to give them a name, or they're kind of distinct enough that I can tell them from the others do they have a name. So I only have 3 Violas, so they're all Forrest Gump names. I went to the Pet Expo last year, which is the largest pet show in the United States, and here in St. Louis, it's one of the biggest shows, if not the biggest show. They get about 35,000 people, and last year, for the first time ever, because I got donations, I was able to go to the Pet Expo for the Crab Street Journal and have a booth and get the information out there, and it was pretty amazing. Last year was a rough year for me. In August, I suffered a house fire and pretty much lost everything, including my remaining dog and cat, and my crabs survived. So just a couple months later, it was time for the Pet Expo, but because everybody donated and helped me, I was still able to go. I had already paid for the booth earlier in the year, so it was already paid for. It was just the last minute stuff. So I've already been given a donation to go again this year, which is pretty fabulous. Gosh, I'm sorry. Fires are the worst. But some very generous people donated enough money this year to pay for my booth rental again. And so since I can just use almost all the same stuff, I just got to make new copies. I got to print out more care sheets and stuff. We'll definitely be back at the expo again this year. I wanted to do some local reptile shows, but things have just been a little too busy for me, and I have not been able to devote the time to going to some reptile shows in St. Louis, but I do plan to at some point. We're doing a lot of advocacy stuff right now, so I feel like we're doing a pretty good job getting the word out there and pushing people to adopt. They do love honey. It doesn't have a lot of nutritional value to it, but, we eat ice cream once in a while, so they should be able to have their honey. Okay, cool. I didn't realize that Zach was actually Ian. Yeah, mine like nuts also. Yeah. I have the Bean Farm UTH. The ones that stick on themselves with that adhesive, I hate those things. I think these The ones from Bean Farm, the Ultra Therms, are really, really quality, and in some cases they're cheaper because I need a really long one for this tank, and I think it's like 30 or 40 bucks. And I don't even know if ZoomEd even makes the equivalent, like a 48-inch heat pad. And if they did, it would probably be $200. No, I don't do fiddlers. Well, see, now you're among your people. You can just talk to us because that's all we do is talk about crabs all day long and post pictures of our crabs all day long. So, because I've done the shows, I have a lot of material just ready to go. So, yeah, if you want to do shows and hand out material, you don't really have to do the legwork. I've done it. Oh, so you can just unplug one or two at a time. I gotcha. Do you know that you can get a, sorry, you can get, Ian, is it a rheostat or a thermostat that she needs? Thank you. That you can plug it in and it'll switch the heat pad off and on to maintain the right temperature. A rheostat. Lieutenant Dan. Oh, rheostats are just a dial. The thermostat actually has like the probe sensor thing. I never know the difference. Don't fall down. Ah, okay, gotcha. The violas seem to be a little more interested in the ocean water than in the fresh water. Like most of the other crabs, when they first wake up for the night, they go over to the fresh water, but a lot of times with the violas, it's the salt water, and you can see that that's where Lieutenant Dan is heading if she doesn't get headed off by Jane Fonda, who was a boy. But he's my little fitness nut. Oh, gosh, yeah, when you're in Canada, you pay a ton extra. One of our local reps, Amber Miner, she's also in Canada, so she sometimes has good tips and tricks for, getting things at a slightly more reasonable cost. Yeah, like nobody knows, right? I named him and then later was able to finally get a peek and see that it was a male, but... okay. No comments for just a second. I'm getting warm in here because I shut the door and I need to stand up and go open it. Or no comments that you expect me to answer anyway. Okay, I'm back. If I just suddenly go away, it means my phone died. I am plugged in, but it's draining the battery faster than it's charging. Yeah, you kind of have to throw our basic shopping recommendations out the window when you get outside of the US. But you'll find that if you've been around a while, I will encourage you to help us change that and help us build up our resources for other people in your area so that if somebody else in your region starts crabbing, they don't have to go through all the misery you did trying to find good deals on supplies. So if we crowdsource our knowledge from all over the world, we should have resources for people everywhere. The adoption, we actually have a form. So if you go to our main website, which is crabstreetjournal.org, up in the menu across the top, you should see an option for adoptions. And if you go there, there'll be a link to fill out a form to become an adopter, and then there's also a link to place your crabs up for adoption if you need to. And we'd much rather see you do that than turn them over to just anyone on Craigslist or wherever. You know, I'd rather see slightly overcrowding to keep some crabs safe than to have them just go and die someplace in a critter keeper. I'm overcrowded, but you can see my crabs live very well, and you can't even see half of them half the time. Yeah. Well, I adopted 20 small purple pinchers from Edis, and then I found Christian, and this is like 2 years ago. Edis got stuck with all like 200 crabs that some lady brought back from Mexico. So I told him I would take 20, and I took the smallest ones he had, and then I found Christian, and I wanted my exotics again, because I had them many years ago. So I ordered them, and I didn't anticipate all of them surviving, to be honest with you. So I didn't think I would have this many still 2 years later. But so far, out of like the Brevimanus and Violas are 2 years with me now. Yeah, I've seen that setup in person, and I would live in his setup. But I think he started having problems. Okay, so our hermit crab group that's like a community where you can chat and do stuff is called Land Hermit Crab Owners. Our business page is the Crab Street Journal. Let me see. Hold on one second. I will take you on a tour. Yeah, his mom was like, oh, these tanks. Okay, so this is, let me try not to spill my beverage. This is our community on Facebook, Land Hermit Crab Owner Society. So that's where we chat and give assistance as much as we can. And then if you go to the Crab Street Journal is our business page on Facebook. That'd be us. And then let's jump over to Surf With Me a While. The Crab Street Journal, main website. We have forums there also. Not super busy, but we don't rely on the forums for information. All of our care information is posted as articles that you can come back and read and research and print and access anytime you want. You don't have to be a member to access any of our information. You have to be a member if you want to participate in our contests. So right up here is adoptions. I'm a little shaky, I apologize. You can also get emergency help. We have an emergency help form. We're building a shopping directory on here. I hate Facebook, but gosh, it has helped us grow our community like you would not believe. So I cannot really badmouth it anymore. Some testimonials, some product reviews. We have recipes on here now and a place you can submit your own recipe. Our store, our newbies guide, which is kind of everything you need to know to get going. My website where I define all the different species of hermit crabs for you, ways to support us, our contests and the rules, and then back to adoptions. I started in the middle and went completely AWOL. Advocacy and outreach is where you'll find you can report a bad pet store. And I think under one of those is links to some other stuff. Adoptions. I missed several comments there. Sorry. So if you go to the adoptions link, that jumps you over to our parent organization, which is the Land Hermit Crab Owner Society. And then on here, we have our map that shows where all of our adopters are located, just to see if there's someone near you. And then here's the form to give up your crabs for adoption. And then down here is the form to become an adopter. You can also become a foster or help with transport. Maybe if somebody, one state over needs to get crabs to somebody on the other side of you, you'd be willing to meet in the middle and drive the crabs. We even need people to do that. Even that helps. And we don't have to ship them. So I think that's our primary websites. Where's the species website? There it is. This website is a bit of a labor of love for me. I've been working on this many, many years. So you can go on here and you can see all the common species and learn about them and their habitat and some of their preferences. If I've been able to find research on them, I've added anything I could find here. I spend a lot of time looking up research articles related to hermit crabs and reading them and educating myself. So I've learned a lot about the different species. And then one of our members actually suggested that we do a poster. So I commissioned this poster through Fiverr, and you can buy a copy of that on our Store Envy site. The only thing is, it was completed before we realized, or we were notified, that Cenobita Lila was, that's the wrong link, was its own species. And so on the poster it's still linked in with the Purpureus, which are actually only found in Japan. You guys, it's been an hour and a half. This has been a super successful first official YouTube live stream. So I appreciate everybody who dropped in tonight and said hello. I'm getting sleepy. I can't even say hello. Maybe it. Yeah, there's her. How do you become an admin in the Facebook group? So there's only 2 of us that really admin the Facebook group. The rest of if you're referring to the rest of the team, which is my local representatives, we have a form for that also. You do have to have been around long enough for me to know you and feel comfortable with you. I can't let somebody that I don't know go out and represent my community. If you have a bad temper or don't have good people skills, you're representing our entire community. So I am selective. I have to know you and feel that our name is safe with you. We've been around a long time, and it's important to me that we continue to have a good reputation. But basically, you just have to know your stuff when it comes to caring for hermit crabs and have a desire in your heart to help people and to advocate, and you fill out the form, you get approved, and you're part of the team. Yeah, this is pretty nice. I think it might be a little bit better than Periscope so that other people don't have to sign up for Periscope. But I appreciate everybody that stopped in and chatted with me and made this successful. And the goal is always to do these on Saturdays, but if I don't have any crabs out on a Saturday, I can't really do a live stream. The form is also on that the parent website. If you go back to, this is lycos.org. And if you go over here on the side, it's the local representatives program right here. We have our code of ethics and some other information on here too. So kind of outlines what our expectations are, that you're an ambassador, and you also do have to be an approved adopter, which that just tells us that your tank is up to snuff and you know your stuff and proper care and all that jazz. We're pretty serious about it. I know it's just hermit crabs, but they're pretty important to us, so I do take it seriously. I have to end it. My phone is melting, and my battery's almost dead, and it's almost like 15 minutes to my bedtime. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in, and hopefully I'll talk to y'all again soon. Good night.